Good morning, NewsFloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. I'm at NeoCon, second day of the show, and I'm with Christine Hart, a project manager with HOK. Christine, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Good. This is kind of a man-on-the-street interview. I met you last night at a Shaw event, and I wanted to get your observations about NeoCon. Before we get to that, though, let's run through quickly your background. You've got 15 years of experience in interior design with HOK, Gensler, and VOA Stantec. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, I've been around a little bit.
You're very active with the IDA here in Chicago. You went to the International Academy of Design and Technology, and you also have a master's from SCAD, and you live here in Chicago now, but you're from Michigan originally, right?
That's correct.
You come to NeoCon every year, right?
I do come to NeoCon every year that we have NeoCon, so it's been great to be back this year.
I was wondering, so you feel like this is worthwhile?
Oh, absolutely. It's nice to be back in the industry and in the field and seeing reps, seeing product, and just being around in the environments.
It's kind of nice to see people face to face too, right?
Absolutely. It's nice to meet new people, and it's nice to reconnect with old reps.
Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing as you walk the halls and go in some of these showrooms here in Chicago.
So it was interesting yesterday. We're seeing not a lot of new product. Color palettes are similar to what they were a year and a half ago, the last time we had NeoCon. So a lot of pastels and peaches and mint color greens. We're seeing a lot of pods. So where we had this open office space for so many years, and I think people are starting to realize we need closed spaces to do a little bit of work. So it seems like there's a lot of pod technology out there. It's interesting because a lot of companies have their own take on what makes a good pod.
These pod things you're talking about, just to describe them further, they look like glass telephone booths. Yeah. I mean, people can go in there and work, and I was curious looking at them yesterday because they're all over the place about the air system and about reservations and how they've tied them in electronically. So there's some software that goes with them too, right?
Yeah, so they have their own lighting systems. They have their own air filtration systems. A lot of them have mobile work surfaces and mobile screens. So some of them you can go in there and do video conferencing. They all have some sort of electricity, so you can plug telephones in and computers in. They're very self-sustaining for one or two people to go in and have a small meeting in a space that is shut off from the rest of the world. So you can see what's going on, but auditorially it's very quiet in there.
So it's a portable conference room, basically, for 1, 2, or 4 people, right?
Yeah, and we're even seeing larger ones. So we're seeing companies create these entire conference rooms that can fit 12 people, and then they have smaller telephone rooms that are attached to them. So if you have this large open workspace, which is where the industry has gone in the last 10 years, they're offering solutions that are not stick-built.
We're also seeing a lot of wingback chairs, modular furniture for these open spaces, and a lot of tactile fabrics as well, right?
There's so many chairs that you walk up this year and you just want to touch them because they're very comfortable and they have a good hand. So it's been nice to see a lot of Scandinavian feeling design too.
Let's talk about attendance versus normal and elevator access.
Elevator access this year has been a dream. I think you wait maybe one elevator before you get anywhere. But attendance has been interesting. So a lot of people are wearing masks, which the Merchandise Mart is requiring. And it's very, very quiet. There aren't lines to get in showrooms this year. You can get through the hallways pretty easily. It's been nice.
And also, one thing I noticed yesterday, Steelcase was packed, obviously a major brand that knows how to promote on social. But then you go to some other places that are strong brands, and you see hardly anybody. So that was kind of interesting, right?
I think it has a lot to do with marketing and how the companies are allowing their reps to get out in the industry this year. So I think there's still a lot of people that are really scared and a lot of companies that are not pushing their reps to go out there and invite a lot of designers to come in. So some of them are like Steelcase. They were absolutely packed, and it was lively and wonderful, just like NeoCon is supposed to be. And you have other showrooms that are next to empty. And I think it has a lot to do with promotion of the product and the reps being out in the industry, especially in the Chicago area. Because to that end, I don't think we're seeing a lot of people traveling. We're seeing a lot of people that are here at NeoCon this year are local, or at least regionally local, and not a lot of people traveling in from across the country or across the world.
That's an observation I saw as well, like you. There's a lot of people here. They're generally a little younger, and I think most of them are regional. I don't know if we got a big cross-section internationally or from, say, California to show, wouldn't you say?
I would completely agree. And talking to rep friends that work in the industry or maybe not Illinois or this area, their companies are telling them to stay home this year. So you miss a lot of connections that way, too, because they come into Chicago and they have connections here that are probably being missed because they're not here.
You made a comment last night about coming to some of these big brands and looking for your rep that you'd known before, and there's been a lot of change there, and that actually can be a big influencer on relationships, right?
Absolutely. It's very interesting. It's the first year I've walked into NeoCon and haven't been accosted at every showroom I've been in because I know so many reps. There's been a huge shift in the industry. So we see people moving back home and making different life decisions because of how the world has been for the last year and a half. So it's definitely a new world, and it'll be interesting to see how having so many new reps in the industry affects design and what people are buying and how design happens.
I know you're working on some project HOK. Did you come here actually looking for specific needs, and are you finding them?
It's a lot of product that I've seen in the past, which I appreciate because there's a lot of really nice things out there that you don't necessarily have in the forefront of your brain because you haven't used it or seen it in a year and a half. So it's nice to come and have a refresh on all of the amazing technology and products that are out there. And yeah, I think you're always looking and keeping things in the back of your brain. Like, is there a fixture that I saw that would be amazing on this project? Or, is there a side table that would be really good. So it's a lot of the smaller things that you don't have in your brain, and the bigger things like the workstations, and those are kind of always pretty similar, but it's a lot of those small pieces that create those little elements of surprise in the space that you focus on when you're here because you don't necessarily see them every day.
All right, Christine, thanks so much for spending time with our audience. Again, been talking to Christine Hart, a project manager with HOK here at NeoCon, second day, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.